All right, so welcome to meteorology. Now, I should warn you before we even get into any of it. The first bunch of chapters, and I don't mean like three, I mean like the first six chapters are kind of boring. Um, and especially because it's online, sorry about that. Uh, so if you just read the textbook, you'll be like, wow, this is not exciting. But it really is a fun chapter, or a fun lesson. So if you could just get through all of the boring stuff, there's fun stuff at the end, I promise. Okay, so first and foremost, don't copy this, copyright, blah, 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 right? So there it is. So if we were on Jupiter, this class would be super easy. Hot meets cold, hurricane develops, which we'll learn all about hurricanes much later, right? That's kind of the fun part at the end. But hot meets cold, hurricane develops, because that's all a hurricane essentially is, moving heat up to the poles. However, what stops hurricanes? Simple answer, land. So no land to stop the hurricane. Hurricane never stops. Hurricane keeps getting bigger. Bad situation for you living on Jupiter. However, class dismissed. That's it. That's the end of meteorology on Jupiter. And of course, I had to put that in there because I teach astronomy. However, too bad for you. You don't live on Jupiter. You live on Earth. So, when we're talking meteorology, that's really too bad for you because we have a very complex weather system. Right? In fact, most of you, probably all of you, are living in the US right now. And the US has every type of weather you can think of. So go USA! Right? We got rain, we got snow, we got sleet, we got hail, we got fog, we got thunderstorms, we got severe thunderstorms, we got tornadoes, we got blizzards, we got floods, we got hurricanes, and we have heat waves. Right? Why is this? Because the US goes from the tropics, like we're almost there at the tropics, to the Arctic, Alaska, right? So it's got everything in between, every type of weather. Some parts of the country are influenced by the ocean. Oh, I don't know, Florida. And some parts are not. Like, let's pick on Nevada. Right? So, meteorology, it's the study of the atmosphere and weather. Right? It's not the study of meteors. If you join this class to study meteors, you need to drop it and go to astronomy. Okay? Meteorology is the study of atmosphere and weather. So, weather is the state of the atmosphere at any given time. Right? It's always changing. Right? And you gotta love Florida, right? Because you're here somewhere, I don't know, I'm sitting down here in Riverview right now, and my husband called me yesterday. I was in Riverview, he was in Temple Terrace, and he's like, hey, it's pouring here. And I'm like, okay, it's nice and sunny here. I mean, we're like 12 miles away from each other. He has pouring rain, I have sunny skies with partly clouds, right? So, state of the atmosphere is always changing, given time and given place. Okay, so we have weather maps, radar, satellite pictures. Weather can only be predicted up to 10 days. We're getting a little bit better, which is why it went from 7 to 10, but still. Right, so this is an old-fashioned weather map, right? You used to get the newspaper, right? So the newspaper is the thing that used to come to your door, and it had all these words on it. It was pretty much black and white, but there were some colors in there. And you would open it up to the weather section, and you would see this map, and it would tell you what your weather was going to be like today. Right, and so you can see Tampa's in the 80s, right? You can see Tampa down here. It's in the 80s, partly cloudy. Yay, fun, right? Now, climate, on the other hand, climate is the average weather for a location. So, average, right? So, weather is what's going on here and now. Climate is average, right? So, extremes, variations, probabilities. All of this stuff is based on years of observation. I used to actually work at a dental office, and we'd have one patient that would come in and was like, okay, you need to get your teeth cleaned in 6 months or whatever. And it wasn't here in Florida, it was somewhere where they actually had snow. And she would pull out her farmer's almanac and be like, okay, what day? So we'd tell her, let's say January 14th. She'd open it up and say, nope, January 14th, it has snow. So let's do the 16th. That one's supposed to be looking good according to the farmer's almanac. And we're like, okay. And normally she was right. So climate averages, right? So if you look, there's this blue line here. So I can point, but you can't see me pointing. So here you go. This blue line, record low. This red line, record high. Red and blue, get it? And then you have your averages, your average low and your average high. Right? So climates, that would be this kind of stuff. Oh, sorry. If you look any graph I give you, any graph anyone gives you, this is always one of my pet peeves, look at the axes, right? I can be like, whoa, look how high this is. This is 107 bananas. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. Like, no, this is temperature. That would be 107 Fahrenheit. Over here, this is temperature. It's 100, or sorry, that would be 42 Celsius. Okay, don't worry, you will learn these two if you don't already know them. And then at the bottom, it's months, and it only has the initials usually because we're lazy. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All right, this is another climate thing where it's percentage of sunny days. And so you can see here the sunshine state, or us, in case you didn't notice, 70%. 70%. However, if you look over here, that's got 90% of sunny days. But yet, don't worry, we're the sunshine state. Okay. So, weather versus climate, to sum it up, I would say this. You're going to Disney next weekend, you want your weather forecast. Your family's coming down from Kansas to go to Disney in, let's just go with July, and so you're going to want your climate information. Okay, so next week, weather, like 2 months from now, climate. Okay, so what are you going to measure when you talk about weather? And it's kind of an interesting thing because when you talk about weather, you call up your friend who lives in Maine. I don't really know anyone from Maine. But anyway, so you call up your friend from Maine and you're like, hey, how's it going there? And they're like, hey, what's your weather like? And so usually, well, we live in Florida, so it's hot and humid, right? The next thing you might say is it's sunny or it's cloudy, right? So clouds, type, and how much there are. If it's raining, you're definitely going to mention that. Hey, it's hot, humid, and raining. It's Florida. Of course it is, right? Well, rain, not snow, so that's a type. And then how much? Is it pouring cats and dogs, or is it just spitting? Right? And something you may not think about unless you live in Chicago would be your wind speed and direction. Right? So why did I say Chicago? Chicago is your windy city, right? So, hey, it's cold and windy. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know what's going on with my slides here. Anyway, the last one is air pressure. There you go. The last one is air pressure. That's one that people don't normally talk about, but we're going to learn that a lot of weather has to do with your air pressure. So air pressure is actually one of the big factors.